Welcome back, everybody. I'm so excited to have another amazing guest with us today at DESCareers. We welcome Eric Schaffner, who is the founder of ZeLoop, based here in Dubai. And we are zooming in to learn more about Eric's career journey, but also a lot more about ZeLoop. Welcome, Eric. Welcome to DESCareers.
Hello, good day. Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me here today.
It's so great to have you here, and I'm really interested to share your career journey and what drove you to founding ZeLoop, what it is, and what it can offer, not just our Middle Eastern community, but also a global community as well. But before we get into any of that, let's start right at the beginning. Take us back to your younger years and that younger academic student. What were your interests way back in that time?
I was a lot interested in biology, and then I done the master degrees on, one of the academic engineering school in France, specialized in food industry, in beverage and production, and also beer master. So that it was really broad towards the industry. And then after, obviously, I started to work for a company because we have to live.
And where were you, so if we go back to that time when you graduated from university and you went on to graduate school, what part of the world were you based and where did you think your career could take you at that time?
I was based in France, but I was already enjoying a lot traveling. I was doing backpacking every year. As soon as I had a bit of money, I will pay myself a trip to different places. My first trip backpacking was in India when I was 18, and then carry on that. So while I was a student, I was already looking at what would be the next place overseas. Went to other countries, travel also in Europe. And then, well, I could get my first job was abroad. I was in South Africa for 4 years. So, yes, I always thought that I wanted to be abroad and meet more culture because I like meeting new people, seeing things out of the box and from a different perspective.
Amazing. I know that your current role as founder of ZeLoop is not just something that you're doing, but also something that you're very, very passionate about. Talk to us about what ZeLoop is and what drove you to starting this enterprise up.
Yeah. So the big picture of ZeLoop, it's a rewarding platform for the circular economy that is based on a reward engine that we have developed ourselves, based on using the blockchain technology. And the reward engine has been designed so we can plug different mobile application or even standard application could be also a way to connect, but we will restrict all those solutions to solutions that can help doing good for the planet. And then our first mobile application is the one we have developed also is the ZeLoop application that focused on plastic pollution by rewarding consumers when they bring used plastic bottle to deposit points that have been mapped as crowdsourced by users themselves that we validate. Obviously, it has to be a true collection point. But once it's validated, it's available for any user. They can just come with their phone, drop the bottle, record the deposit. We validate the deposit. And when the deposit is validated, they earn a cryptocurrency that will be eventually redeemable against goods and services. And in a future plan next year, we will list that token, and then they will be able to redeem that against real money. So basically, our ambition is to give a value for waste. First, the plastic bottle, but once the platform will host other application on different recyclable or different gestures that are pro-environmental, it will give value to those gestures.
Amazing. Why ZeLoop? Why did you start this?
Because there's different, the different elements of the puzzle that came at one moment in my life all together. First, I've done a long career in company that they supply equipment to make beverage lines, plastic beverage line, glass lines or can lines. But the main product we were selling was complete lines on the plastic. So I was dealing with customer beverage owners and so on, Coke, Pepsi, Nestle, Century, and so forth. And although the plastic as a container is still the best in terms of having the lowest carbon footprint compared to other containers, it's unfortunately because plastic is so cheap, it ends up in nature where it should not be because it's not properly brought back, collected, and so on. So it doesn't have a chance to really close the loop. So I could see clearly the problem of a growing problem of the plastic pollution. I could see my former customer concerned about that because switching is good to say, hey, let's stop, let's reduce by stopping is okay, but let's replace by something that has potentially even worse impact is not good. And that is sometimes nobody has the big picture. We just cut the thing short and say, oh yeah, that's bad, so we have to stop. So on one side, we have a huge plastic problem in terms of pollution. And on the second element of the puzzle, I would say, is I invested in a startup as a private business angel because I was attracted by their philosophy to bring services between people with a reward system using blockchain. And I liked the economy that was behind. I liked the way the product was developed. And then there was a point in time where I saw that, hey, that product they have developed could be actually adapted to the problem of the plastic pollution. Then we put that all together and we started to ZeLoop the last year.
Amazing. I know that you spoke with our business students about the social enterprise, and you talked a little bit about the difference between a social enterprise such as ZeLoop and a regular enterprise that's more profit-making without the consideration of environmental effects and the impact on the environment.
Okay.
If we can go into a little more detail, because one of the things that you mentioned in that talk with our students was value, and you talked about value and connecting the dots with the end users. Can you talk to us a little more about that today?
Yeah, and that is actually why I was very attracted at first with the blockchain approach of that first project I invested in. That was the idea of that there is value creation, but that value is redistributed to the actors or who have participated to create value. I will explain a bit further. On ZeLoop, we distribute a token for every bottle used that is collected and brought by the user. But the token is what we call a utility token. It's not just a currency, a virtual currency that you buy everything around. It's something that has a value in the ecosystem that we are developing. But you as a user, when you do your transaction, when you collect tokens, when you act on that, you will be part of the value creation of that. So, and because you earn also that token, you create the value, but that the value is also for you. So obviously we are a company we go for profit, because it's without profit you can't develop, and it has a cost of developing apps and platforms and so on. But everybody who helped us also contribute to the value creation and get rewarded for that value creation. And that is the principle. So we redistribute that value. You know, if you have successful companies that make a fantastic product, let's say a mobile phone with a fruit on the phone without putting any brand name, they made a kill when they brought that phone, changing completely, revolutionized completely the mobile phone industry from the smartphone with digits and with keyboards and so on. They made a kill, but as a user, we spend money, but none of us, and we have made the contribution of that. If there was no user, no buyers, we would not have created that value. But that value is just for the shareholder of the company, full stop. And what we give is not just the value for the future shareholder of ZeLoop. You earn, and you get that value also for you. And that is a big difference.
Amazing. Okay, let's talk about the role of founder. A lot of young people don't understand what that means. What does it mean to be a founder?
First, I mean, it's the founder is often is the one who has the idea, or maybe see the idea in the hands of someone else and say, hey, let's do something. So the founder is the one who's going to drive and say, hey, we can do something out of that. Maybe first check that we can do something viable. You have to do business plan. You have to test your market. You have to talk around. You have to shape it. But you are the main pilot. You have to push everybody. You have to engage everybody, to motivate also. If you have a right project that everybody buy into it, you have people that are keen to join you, to help you, and not necessarily that you have to pay a fortune and so on, because they want to be part of the adventure. And after, if you are successful, everybody will have a share of that performance. But yeah, for me, the driver is really the pilot motivating the team that will make it happen. You have to set a vision. You have to set a roadmap. You have some time to say, no, we're not going to go that direction, or we do later. You have to bring also pragmatism to the business. It's good to dream, and then every time we have hundreds of ideas to add to the app and so, or to the project. And sometimes you have to sit down and say, okay, that is great. Let's park it. Let's do it later. Let's do first that one, because that one can bring us a bit of money that will help us for the next stage and so on. So you are the timekeeper, the rhythm keeper also.
And what are some of the tasks that you have to do that you didn't think you would have to do, but they need to get done and the founder has to do them?
Well, my previous life was corporate, just social media. I was not huge on social media. I had my personal LinkedIn profile, which was primarily built because every time I meet customers and so on, people will ask me. I was sales VP, so I was quite exposed in the organization and so on. So people ask you often, to connect and so on, and you accept if it's meaningful. But that's all. And I had a small Instagram account, personal account, just to share. I was traveling 50% of my time, so more to share events with friends and so on. When you said that, quickly, 2 months after the designation of ZeLoop, we set up the social media. We didn't have yet a community manager, so I had to set up things and to post and this kind of things. That I was not. I like it, but it's not usually what I do or what I've done in the past. And actually, I was just more a spectator of social media, and more into it. Now we have a team, and we have a great community manager that does most of the creativity and preparing things. But we discuss some bi-weekly together, reviewing the plan and reviewing the post and so on. So I'm involved. I'm still involved, but at least it's a bit less time consuming.
Yeah, definitely, most definitely. What would you say have been some of the highlights of your career from corporate to now, what you're doing?
You mean the highlights on the switch from one part of the other?
Well, when you think back on your career, when you think back to where you started and where you are today, what are some of those memories that you remember that you think amazing moments in my career?
Yeah, well, I moved first. The first amazing moment is location. I was privileged to go. We had to live for 4 years in South Africa, and at the end of the apartheid, so it was also a very special moment, a special transition. Then before Dubai, I was in charge of the subsidiary in Japan, and that was a mind-blowing experience. Had a team, only Japanese team, with a customer, all Japanese, really a cultural difference, but a culture you want to learn about. That's truly an highlight on different perspective, because it was on different for work, different for life, different for values also. You learn some new values, and it's what I like also in meeting people in different countries, meeting different values and so on. So that was a very, very important stage and so on. And I believe, yeah, all those highlights, all those steps is what built you, and that makes you at one stage ready for doing something else.
And thinking back on those moments of travel and cultural diversity, and now running your own enterprise, you've learned a lot of things along the way in how you do business and how you deliver business, how you sell, how you pitch. What are some of your top 3 tips that you would say to a young person aspiring to go into either entrepreneurship or just even to start their own career? What would they
I
be?
think, yeah, I think the first thing is always trust in yourself, and show that when you say something, show that, yeah, you trust what you say. You are confident that is the right thing and so on. Even if you are in your mind with some doubts and so on, that's okay. And you can make mistake. That is also fine, and learn from mistake is very important. But when you think something, just believe in what you say. Because that's how you convince people. And that is the first stage. You convince, and then people tend to listen to you, and then you can drive and you can go. If you are just not so sure and so on, that doesn't help. So yeah, be confident in yourself, or show that you are confident in yourself if you're not truly confident in yourself.
And
Uh,
that's a big one. That's a big thing to learn, isn't it? Sometimes it can take decades to really learn that and have that
mm.
confidence. How do you gain that confidence? What would you say has been the best learning for you to get that confidence?
Well, after, I think everybody has his own mental scheme. Personally, I'm very analytic. I will collect information before make a decision. I will collect information, and listen, collect, and so on. Make my mind process it, put in shape, and then I'll say, okay, that is what I want to do. Then I'm confident, because I believe that I've made my decision based on solid facts. Some other people are more instantaneous, and I will have a different process. So it's maybe my process is not adapted for some different approach. But for those who are on the rational side, it's a process that personally works very well, and that makes me confident. That's for sure, because I know that I'm not just reacting, and and if even I'm challenged, I say yes, but it's based on that and that and that element. And then if someone brings me an alternative logic to that, they say, no, but you should see the different angle. I say, well, fair enough. It's a logic process. For me, logic is very important. So if what we say is based on the result of a logic process, it's something that I will tend to trust, or I will make me easy to convince, because I have got the demonstration.
Thank you so much. So really understanding our own ability for that mental strength and finding confidence, and definitely believing in oneself and being confident to follow through on what we say that we want to be doing. Thank you so much, Eric. This brings us to the end of another amazing interview. Today we met with Eric Schaffner, who is the founder of ZeLoop. If you don't know what ZeLoop is, rewind this interview, learn more about it. How can we find you, Eric? How can people
Well,
find
it's very easy. We are on the stores already distributed. We have downloads in over than 96 countries now. So it's just ZeLoop, ZELLOOP, and you find it on the stores. You find it also on the net, .net, and you will find our website.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Eric. And
My
thank you
pleasure.
everyone for watching us. I look forward to seeing you all at our next DESCareers Digital Spotlight.
Thank you.